Hey y'all. Hey everybody, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us for another Power to Fly Chat and Learn virtual event. My name is Meg Alexander. I am, as always, eager and excited to get to host another Power to Fly event with the one and only Lorraine Kaylee. Now, before we dive in, I just want to say hello and welcome to everybody. We are going to be discussing Unforgettable in Uncertain Times, building visibility and influence on LinkedIn after a layoff. Now, if this is your first Power to Fly event, I just want to say hi, welcome. We're so happy to meet you. And if you are one of my frequent flyers, whether today is your fourth event or your 50th, I am absolutely ever overjoyed to get to see y'all again back here. Now, real quick flash of our code of conduct. This looks like a big scary wall of legalese, but truly what it boils down to is just don't act like a jerk, okay? As long as we operate from a place of kindness and respect, it's pretty hard to go wrong from there. But if you have questions, you want more details on this, that's okay. You can always DM me. My name in the dropdown is Meg Alexander. You can also email our help desk inbox if you'd like. That email address is hi@powertofly.com. All right. Now, this is going to be a real quick look at what you can expect from today's event. Biggest thing that you should know about for Power to Fly events is participation. We want to make sure that the time that you spend with Power to Fly and amazing people like Lorraine Kaylee is worth it. So we encourage you to participate if you'd like by turning your cameras on, sharing your smiling, maskless faces with us safely. Now, there is no need to be Instagram perfect, y'all. I mean, just because I got real fancy and actually washed my hair today does not mean that you can't turn up with your messy buns, your bathrobes, your kitchen table work office workspaces. We don't care. Okay. We don't want to stand on ceremony. We want to meet you where you are today. Now, if you don't want to participate with your camera, that's okay. No worries. You are always welcome to join in the chat. In fact, I encourage y'all to dive in there and let us know where you're joining us from. I'm coming to you from Toledo, Ohio. This is land that belonged to the Fox, Kickapoo, and Potawatomi tribes in my area. So if you would like to, please feel free to let us know where you're joining us from around the world. And if you know, whose land you're on. Now, as we go through today's event, we are recording as well as live streaming to YouTube. Hi, YouTube. And what that means for all of you is you don't have to take notes. You get to sit back, relax, enjoy the conversation that I'm about to have with Lorraine, and not worry if you miss a resource that's shared or a link that's passed out. Okay, no worries there. Now, the other thing I want to highlight is if you are, navigating the group chat, I very much encourage y'all, especially for an event like this where it is based on job hunting. Y'all, this is a rough, emotionally rough subject for a lot of people. Okay. So please feel free to network in the chat, introduce yourselves, get to know people. The one thing I will tell you and will specify, this is a public event. So just make sure we're practicing good digital hygiene. If you're welcome to share, LinkedIn info, that kind of stuff. Just make sure whatever you're sharing, you're okay being public. All right. Just FYI. Okay. So let's see. We've got, oh my God, gosh, we got a bunch of people. All right, so Stacy's in Irving, Texas. We've got Jeannie's joining us from New Jersey. Pam is in Rochester. Elvira in Hearst, Texas. We've got Colorado, New Jersey, Chicago, and Sonata, Mexico represented. Yes, love it. Brandy, hi from Detroit, Brandy, not that far from me. I love seeing this, y'all. Thank you so much for diving in and sharing with us today. All right, now I am incredibly excited to introduce you to our speaker. But the last thing I'm going to do before I do that is real quick plug Power to Fly. So, in case you don't know who we are or what we're about, Power to Fly is a women-led company. We're backed by Morgan Stanley. We have over 200 million plus professionals in our network, and our mission is to help organizations to attract top talent and retain engaged employees. We want to make sure that you all find your next great fit, but that you have the tools and techniques to serve you once you find that next role. All right. Now, very excited to have y'all join us for today's event with Lorraine Kaylee. Lorraine is one of my favorite speakers that we have. She is a keynote speaker and the best-selling author of Unforgettable Presence. Now, she has over a decade of experience as a founding editor at LinkedIn and Prezi, and has empowered hundreds of thousands of learners through her popular courses at Stanford and LinkedIn Learning. Now, Lorraine is on a mission to help leaders amplify their presence and impact, ensuring that they are no longer the best kept secret at work. Lorraine's insights are frequently featured in outlets including Forbes, CNBC, and the Financial Times, and she's built a massive community as a LinkedIn top voice with over 300,000 followers. Please join me in welcoming Lorraine Cayley to the spotlight today. Lorraine, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, you're my favorite moderator, Meg. It's always fun to be back here.
Love it. All right. Now, before we dive into questions, what else would you like our audience members to know about you?
The only thing I would add, given the topic of this session, is that I went through a layoff at the end of 2022 and certainly know all the emotions and stress that come with that. And so, yeah, I'm excited to dive in and hopefully help all of you. I would love to know at what point you can let us know in the chat at what point in your job search journey you're at now. Are you interviewing? Are you still trying to hear back from recruiters? And that will help us also make sure that we're giving you the right information.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right. Let's dive into questions. Now, one thing I do want to highlight for everybody, we do have questions prepped that y'all had submitted at registration, things that y'all told us you would like to learn from Lorraine today. But if you have questions and you want to make sure that you get the most out of today's session, please, y'all, please feel free to ask. Okay. Now we can't have y'all on audio, but you are absolutely welcome to ask questions in the chat. I've also got my DMs open as well. So please, y'all, make the most of this time, reach out and get answers to your questions today. All right, Lorraine, to start us off with, um, obviously this has been a year. We're what, 2 months into the year, and I feel like it's already been 18 years.
Yeah.
If people are feeling very much, feeling like the market is saturated with layoffs and so many people, what do you think actually differentiates a candidate today, especially if you are in a highly competitive sector?
So if you're feeling like it is a harder year to job search, you are not alone. There's been data that actually shows this, that people are feeling like 2026 is already harder than 2025. So there's a few things that I think in this age of AI where so many applicants are coming through for one job description that can be really, really powerful. So the first is networking. I know it's age-old advice, but it needs repeating that networking is going to be one of the best ways that you can get your application and get your foot in the door at a company. So making sure that you are reaching out to people on LinkedIn who work at that company. If you don't have a mutual connection, find someone who perhaps has that role or is in the broader function who you can talk to learn a little bit more. Come with thoughtful questions, share a little bit about yourself. That is going to make it even more likely that they might say, "Hey, I'm happy to refer you." And often when referrals go through, you're guaranteed to have your resume looked at. The second thing I would say is there are ways to stand out after you apply for a role. So I hired my first full-time person last year. There were over 1,000 applications. They came fast and furious. And out of 1,000 applications, let's say maybe 10 people sent me a message on LinkedIn to let me know they applied. And out of those 10 messages, maybe five were decent, actually explaining, why they applied and a little bit about themselves. The other five were people saying, "Oh, hey, by the way, I applied." And then out of those five, two to three were strong messages where the person actually explained why they were excited about the role and the experience that they brought. And it was a very clear, concise message. And so to me, as the hiring manager, those two candidates, two to three candidates, immediately stood out as people who can communicate well, who are proactive, and who are actually excited about the job, right? Not doing the sort of spray and pray method where we're applying to as many places as possible and just fingers crossed that someone will see it.
Which, to be fair, if you are currently in your spray and pray era when it comes to your application phase, you're not wrong. All right, it's all right. It depends. There's many different points that we might be at, but I do think, Lorraine, you raise a really good point, right? It's not just the application anymore. It's the application. It's the extra outreach wherever you think you can make it, and then personalize or like customize that outreach to what you're applying for. And truly, because what you're describing from the recipient's perspective is, listen, these people tried. These people really tried. These people really, really, really tried. And
Yeah.
clearly they had something, they had a connection to the thing, and the skills that they are demonstrating, the soft
Yeah.
skills they're demonstrating
Yeah.
via this, extra reach out
Yeah.
is something that would be valuable to the position. You know what I mean? Like I
Exactly.
think
Exactly.
it's not just tenacity, right? It's tenacity, but understanding you can't just stand next to someone and go, how about now? How about now? How about now? How about now? What about now? How about now? How about now? 5 minutes? Okay. What about now? How about now? How about now? How about now?
Yeah.
Like that's not going to work for you, right? Like tenacious, yes, but you want to be able to read the room. You want to be like good for the role once you get there.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, there was the perfect combination of professionalism, me feeling like I could sense their personality, and then also again like that excitement factor because as a hiring manager, you want to hire people who genuinely seem excited, not someone who is just submitting their resume for the sake of submitting their resume.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Oh, that's a good question. Nancy just asked in the chat, did you end up hiring any of those three candidates?
You know what's funny is the two strongest messages I got, they were the two finalists. So I don't think that was a coincidence.
There you go.
Yep.
Love that. Okay. How can you confidently frame a layoff, a resume gap, or 1 to 2 years out of the workforce in interviews and online? I've handled it various ways over the years, depending on what my actual situation was and where I was trying to go with that. But I want to know, are there guidelines for this? Does it come down to personal preference? What would you tell people?
Um, I think that can you repeat the question one more time, Meg?
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
a few different
So
parts there. Yeah.
if you're going into if you're going into an interview and you're trying to frame the layoff that you've
Okay, yes,
experienced,
yes. Okay.
a resume gap, whatever your break in your employment looks like, how
Yes.
can we frame this in a way that is more confident and comes less from a place of like apologizing or
For
trying
sure.
to get permission, I guess.
Yeah. So there's a few different angles to this. That's why I had you repeat it. Thank you for that. So first is, if you want to say that there's a quote unquote silver lining to layoffs being so prevalent now is that it's nothing that needs to be hidden or felt like you're ashamed of it. Because layoffs are so common now, it's okay to talk about, and I encourage you to talk about it. So if you're someone, I saw someone earlier had been laid off recently, writing that post on LinkedIn that you got laid off, that's going to get a lot of traction because people want to support you, they want to help you. They've also been through it as well. And the thing about a post like that, though, is you don't want to say, hey, I was laid off. You want to really leverage that moment to make it clear to others how they can help you. Hey, I just got laid off, and this is what I'm hoping to do next. If you have any leads, tag someone, send me a message. And you want to get as specific as possible because if you say, hey, I'm just looking for a job in marketing, that can mean a lot of things. But if you say, hey, I saw someone was looking for a job in life cycle marketing at a startup that's no more than 100 people, uh, remote, right? Like all these sort of qualifications that you're asking for now, I can think of next time I see a role that fits that, I can send that your way. Similarly, if you're taking a break or you've been in a layoff for longer, posting on LinkedIn is going to be one of the best ways that you can stay top of mind, but also stay top of mind strategically. It's not like you were saying, Meg, before, where it's like, how about now? But you're not posting for the sake of posting, but how can you showcase what you're working on during that time, what you're learning during that time? There are many things that you can do, like gathering micro credentials or taking a LinkedIn learning course. You'll get a certificate, so it shows that you're learning new skills during the time off. You can build something with AI. I think especially in this day and age, employers are really looking for what have you built versus just saying theoretically I kind of know this skill, or I've used, chat GPT for this thing, but how can you take that a step further and really create something? So there's a lot of things that you can do during that time off, and people want to see people build in public and they want to hear from you. And even if you're not getting a lot of engagement, there's what I call quiet lurkers on LinkedIn, where people are seeing your stuff. Even if they're not engaging, they're seeing your stuff. And the moment that a job opening comes up, or the moment they think, oh, this person wants to talk to someone who's like this person, that's when they make the connection. But it does take consistency, which is hard, but you want to provide as much opportunity to be discovered when that moment lands.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. I mean, I feel like a lot of people don't necessarily think about posting to LinkedIn just because like we didn't LinkedIn wasn't positioned in the same social way that things like Facebook or Instagram were from the jump.
Yeah.
And so for me, when people are like, "Oh yeah, go post on LinkedIn," and I'm like, "Why would you post on LinkedIn? I'm not hiring." So like I absolutely appreciate this is why I love talking to you because it reminds me that I am both young and hella old. And so like I need to rethink how I see some of these tools that we have access to, right? Like, come on, I'll be 40 this year. That's like both like a child and also a million years old, just depending on what, which way you swing there. So, okay, let's talk about let's talk about LinkedIn more specifically.
Yeah.
What specific LinkedIn actions actually drive that outreach? That like recruiter outreach, meaningful opportunities. Because it can be real easy to be like, "Oh, I'm posting, it's fine," but it's not actually doing anything. What should we be paying attention to?
So engagement is one, like an obvious sort of vanity metric, but chances are when you start posting on LinkedIn, you won't see much engagement to start. Another form of content that I think is really, really powerful on LinkedIn, which I think will answer some of the questions I'm seeing come through in the chat, is commenting. Comments equal content, as I always like to say. And so it is quite scary to just make a post and put yourself out there and have your face out there. So if you want to ease into it, comments are still really powerful. And it's such a great way to be noticed. I know for me personally, when I post, if I see the same name appearing in my comments, I click through, I'm curious. I'm like, who is this person? Similarly, if you start commenting on a recruiter's post, or you comment on the hiring manager posts on LinkedIn and you provide some interesting insights, your name starts becoming familiar. By the time you send that DM, they already are more inclined to open it because they recognize you. Or similarly, when you send the connection request, your name already has some familiarity. So comments are also really, really powerful. Now, on LinkedIn, something that's important to know is that your headline and your about section, the keywords you include in both, help you become more discoverable, both in the LinkedIn ecosystem search and also Google search. So you want to make sure that you're optimizing both of those things. If you are looking for a job in marketing, or you're looking to switch careers into, we were talking about data science earlier, Meg and I, before you all logged on, you want to make sure those keywords are there. You want to essentially envision what a recruiter might type to find someone like you, and then make sure that those keywords show up in those key places. So those are a few of my favorite tips for sort of that immediate discovery and also recognizability if you're starting to post and engage with other people.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay. Let's see. Oh, we did get a really good question in the chat. This person, Pam says, I recently saw a job posted on LinkedIn that I wanted to apply to. Then I noticed that over 2,500 people had already applied for the job. Is it worth even applying for it at that point? Because it seems like the odds are stacked against you. On the one hand, my grandmother is screaming in my ear from years ago saying, if you never ask, the answer's always no. But what's the more realistic response now?
Apply. I mean, if let's say the job posting has been up for like 2 weeks, maybe at that point they've already started the interview process, so it might be harder. But let's say it's been 24 hours. Again, I go back to that example of 1,000 people applied to that job posting I made within 24-ish hours. And I mean, again, only very few people reached out. And so there's still opportunity here. So don't give up. If it's something that you're really excited about, figure out who the hiring manager is, figure out who the recruiter is, find someone internal in the company who's willing to speak to you. There's something to be said for that hustle again, because a lot of people are applying and they're just being a little bit passive, just okay, I applied and now on to the next. But if it's something you're really excited about, there are ways to get your resume seen and make sure that you're at least up in the running for consideration.
Yeah. Well, and I'm seeing a bunch of people in the comments here talking about like, yeah, I've reached out, to this person. They were able to respond and tell me, like it's a government contract, so our hands are tied right now, but we'll talk about this in another however long or whatever. And so as I'm thinking about that, I'm thinking to myself like, oh yeah, it's not, this isn't just useful in terms of, hey, 25 people applied to this, right? Do the reach out. Do the reach out and even say, hey, I understand that you might be completely full up for applications for this, but I am really interested in this role. If this is a recurring, like, could you tell me if this is a recurring role that you might be hiring for months down the line? Can I keep my eyes peeled for something like this?
Yeah.
If you're more curious about the position and less about, no, it's that rec, that one right there, that's the one I applied to, that might help you out a little as well.
Yeah, it's always good. Again, like going back to that first tip I gave around networking, keep in touch. All these recruiters who you're seeing their names and you're seeing them make these postings, connect with them, keep in touch, check in every month, every quarter, whatever you think makes sense. You don't know. Again, like there's so many distractions and things happening in a day and so many applications. And so whatever step you can take to stay top of mind, like you want to show up at those moments. So don't be afraid to check politely, of course, but checking in is actually a kind thing to the other person because you're helping them. You're reminding them you're here versus them having to think through, oh, I have this position now and I got to think through my whole network, right? You want to be there when the moment strikes.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, like I feel okay. So I've shared this a bunch, but when I applied for Power to Fly, I actually applied 3 different times. I got interviewed 2 different times, like
Okay.
8 months apart.
Yeah.
And by the time, like after we went through the whole first round, whatever, everybody was very, very lovely. But they were like, hey, we're gonna go with somebody that already has some more experience in this area.
Hmm.
Can we
Hmm.
keep your application on file? And I was like, yes, because that's what you always say. And inside,
Yeah.
I was like, they are never going to call me back, which is fine, like because nobody is as driven to find you a job as you should be, so
Yeah.
okay, fine.
Yeah.
So I don't think much of it. I am applying for other stuff. I interviewed for other places. 8 months go by and an email saying, hey, are you still looking, because we're going to be opening up this role again. And I
Yeah.
was like, absolutely yes. Now I will tell you, it still didn't go through right away, and so what I ended up doing was saying, hey, like pretty much every time I emailed, I would say like, hey, here's the thing we wanted to catch up on, blah blah blah. I know that you're busy. If I'd email on Tuesday, if I don't hear from you by Friday, then I'll reach out again on Monday.
Yeah.
Not in a like, I'm waiting for you and threatening, but more in a like, hey, I am active and I am engaged. I am going to
That's
tell you that I'm going to reach out, at this time, give a buffer window because people have other things going on. It's not, just the Meg show, as much as I would love it to be.
yeah.
But, have that care and consideration, but let them know, hey, I'm gonna be here because I'm really excited about this. You know, Position yourself and make them aware that this is not just a one-time thing for you.
Yeah, I love that tip. It's such a good one that I use all the time in my follow-ups. I'm gonna follow up, yeah, Monday, but if you need more time, let me know. And this way it also gets rid of that anxiety of like, oh, am I following up too soon? Or like, oh, is now the right time to follow up? So I love that. Yeah, I'm so glad you shared that.
Thanks. Okay, we've got a lot of people that have like kind of questions about LinkedIn, so I'm gonna go through some of
Yeah,
these.
let's do it.
Um, Raquel says, I've been reached out to by recruiters with roles that don't really interest me, or it's contract based, 6 months, blah, blah, blah. I've been honest in saying that I'm looking for more permanent roles focused on X, Y, and Z. If they have something more suitable, I'd love to discuss. Is that a good approach? I say, yeah.
I would say I would say to talk actually, even if
Yeah.
it's contract based, because contract is can be a really good transition role into full time.
What do you think I
And
do?
yeah, and you might find that you like contracting once you start. Contract roles allow for more flexibility with your schedule. it's very kind of like
Connections.
project driven. Yeah, it's just I feel like people once I know a lot of people once they start contracting, they're like, oh, I actually don't want to go back. And the thing is a full-time role, it seems more stable, but most full-time roles are at will. So they can fire you, even they hire you for, a full-time role, a month in, they can fire you. So it on the surface it feels a little bit more secure because yes, there's like, insurance and more hurdles they have to jump through, but it's not really guaranteed. So I think the contract roles can give you great learnings. You talk to them, maybe you impress them so much and you're able to kind of pitch a position, make them see something they didn't see. You Similarly, like whenever I talk to a client for speaking engagements, if it's not quite what I need, I still get on a call and I talk to them and I explain my ideas and how I think I can help. And oftentimes it's like, oh, I didn't think about that. Or now that I've met you, I really like you. And yeah, I want to make something work. So I would take those conversations regardless.
Yeah, especially if you have, I mean, if you have the time to have the conversation, like
Yeah.
worst case scenario, you learn more that tells you that it's not the role for you. You know, and I think you bring up a very good point there. Like there have been plenty of times that I have worked places as a freelancer or as a contract role, and then been like, hey, I really like it here. If you guys have any openings, I would love to blah blah blah. It's a very good way to kind of get your foot in the door. That's kind of internship-esque, but you are actually getting paid for what you do. So, very very good option there.
Yeah, Jacqueline makes a good point as well. Contract, because it doesn't offer benefits, usually they pay more as well.
Hmm. Yep. Let's see. Regarding gaining visibility on LinkedIn, could it be a disadvantage if you don't have referrals, especially from big companies? I've heard from some people who say that if you don't have referrals, they won't look at your profile.
Um, I think this person means Edith means internal referrals.
I think so,
I,
yeah.
I don't think I don't think it's no good referrals equals you are nothing.
Hmm.
But referrals, it always helps. It
It
always helps
speaks
to have
highly, yeah.
someone inside to say, oh, I know this person. I do know a lot of the big companies now are only allowing you to internally refer someone if you've worked with them before, because
Mm,
previously you could kind of just, refer anyone. Um, but even if someone doesn't officially refer you, it's still helpful to try to know someone within the company who can help push things along. One
yeah.
thing that I would suggest if you don't have those referrals, well, actually, even if you do have those referrals, on your LinkedIn, a very underutilized section is the recommendation section at the bottom. So if you scroll down on my page right now, you'll see over 200. I'm not saying you have to get over 200, but I call this section Yelp for Professionals. So anytime we're going to a new restaurant, trying a new service, we're going on Yelp or searching it on Google, right, to see what people have said before. Similarly, if a recruiter goes to your profile because they're interested in you, you want to give them as much information as possible. So to have at least a few recommendations where people are saying, "Hey, it was really great to work with this person." That to me as a hiring manager gives me some sense of comfort that, oh,
Hmm.
okay, I'm not kind of going into this blind. I can at least already see that this person has some testimonials. So I think really wonderful social proof. And yeah, again, very underutilized, but it goes a long way, at least, from my experience to see, oh yeah, people do like working with this person. If I have exactly two profiles that are very similar, but this person has a bunch of testimonials about how much everyone loves working with them, I'm going to talk to this person first.
Yeah. No, just that tracks. I feel you there. Okay, we have, oh man, less than a minute. Okay, so in the time we have remaining, if people only remember one thing from today's conversation, what do you want that one thing for them to take with them to be?
I want that one thing to be that I think proactivity here is the name of the game, and to remember that you have more control and more agency over the situation than you might feel. And I know it's more work, but that's also why I say try to narrow down the jobs that you're really, really interested in, because it does take that extra work and those extra steps to get to that point where someone sees you. And so if you're having 100 applications, it's going to be impossible for you to do a great job on 100 applications. So my hope is that you feel more empowered, more excited that there's some strategies you can use to really get visible and LinkedIn is going to be one of the most powerful places to do that.
Excellent. Lorraine, thank you so much. I always enjoy getting to spend time with you. But thank you so, so much for sharing your time and your expertise with us today. We really appreciate it.
Of course. Can I share a few helpful resources
Yeah,
for everyone?
please.
Okay.
Yes.
So I have a free 5-day email course from invisible to influential. You can down or subscribe. I'll put it in the chat. LorraineKLee.com/free dash course. I also have a masterclass if you're learning how to wanting to learn how to communicate your value so that you get promoted and receive more opportunities. I just opened the wait list. We just completed the first cohort. It went amazingly. So I'm really excited for anyone else who wants to learn about that skill. It's so important to stand out in the age of AI. And again, with so many layoffs happening, I have many free LinkedIn learning courses as well. You can type my name and find those there. And then, of course, I hope you all connect with me on LinkedIn. I share tips about 4 days a week, sometimes on LinkedIn, sometimes on general career strategies and advice. So hope to see you all there. And if you need a safe place to practice commenting, use my posts. I will comment back, and yeah, hopefully you get in the habit of it.
I love that. Thank you so, so much, Lorraine. All right, y'all,
Hi,
that's going to bring us
everyone.
to the end of time today. But I just want to say, whether you are 1 day or 4 million days into your job search, listen to Meg, okay? You just took 30 minutes out of your day to do something positive for yourself and your career. That's not easy. It is not rewarded in this day and age. And we know that no one likes job hunting because there's yet to be a reality competition show based on it. So, knowing that this is a slog, take care of yourselves, please. Listen to Meg, whether you're a little treat person or not. Give yourself a gold star, pat on the back, coffee drink, maybe not Starbucks, is all I'm saying. But whatever it is, take care of yourself, okay? Be nice to yourself because it is rough in these streets. Go out, have the day y'all voted for, and I hope that we see you back here sooner rather than later. That's going to be it for us, y'all. Bye.
Thank you.